before conference play begins. Of course, they'll have a game against Oklahoma later in the year in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. But it will start for real in their next outing as they take on Mississippi State. But tonight, Jackson State and the Tigers in their way. Boy, a big collision, and right out of the gates, an offensive foul against Brandon Miller trying to set the screen.
Well, we talked about the turnovers, and again, this is where, well, I don't see an offensive foul there. I don't know what the call was. Brandon Miller, you got a right to be upset, and I'm sure Coach Nate Oates was asking the officials, and that's the 14th turnover. Alabama with 4 turnovers in that stretch that allowed Jackson State to really cut that lead down right before the half.
Alabama, though, 8-0 on the year when they lead at the half, even though this is a slim 1-point advantage. Here's Hunt trying to find a little bit of room. Little finger roll, up and good.
One thing that happens when you give the underdog a competitive advantage, when they start to believe, especially when you got Coach Mo Williams here with all this emotion, they gain confidence as the game continues.
Sears, step back 3. And a quick timeout taken by Jackson State. Played just 53 seconds, and Mo Williams wants a timeout, not happy with the defense. Back in a moment. Williams drawing it up in that Jackson State huddle. He was not happy with that last basket by Alabama. What happened there, Fish?
Well, he was complaining about the closeout. Look, Mo Williams is coming to win this game. He don't want a more victory. Right there, you can tell the closeout was about a foot short, which allowed Mark Sears to get off the three-point shot. Mark Sears is a guy who shoots it well from behind the three-point line, plus 40%. And Mo Williams is saying, listen, we're not here for another moral victory. We can win this basketball game. And as a result, he wanted Trace Young to realize we've got to do better in closing out. That's a shooter. You didn't follow the scouting report, and he wanted to make that point known to his guys early versus taking timeouts home.
Jackson State, this is their 58th game against a ranked AP opponent. They are 1 for 56 in their previous 57 outings. But right now they feel like they can shock the world in Coleman Coliseum, but a long way to go. 19:07 to play. A 36-34 Alabama lead after that Sears three-pointer. 41% shooter from behind the arc. Got that one to drop. He's 11th in the conference in scoring, 9th in field goal percentage. Now we'll see if Alabama can play some defense on the other end. And that's a traveling violation. That's going to give it right back to the Crimson Tide. So Marcus Jones with an extra step.
You mentioned that 1 in 56. The difference between Jackson State and a lot of the other schools in the SWAC is that probably 90 or 100% of those are going to be on the road, right? And so you think about these young men having to try to raise money for their university and playing so much away from home. It's got to take a toll on it. And Coach Mo Williams talked about that challenge with him because he's not accustomed to losing games, Dave. And so he has to continue to work on the mindset of his players as well.
Jump hook won't go. Rebound to Miller, who's been just dynamite on the backboards. 5th in the conference in rebounding this year.
I think Miller's being too unselfish today. You think about, as you see the rebounds by Alabama, +8. You think about him putting up that many points. As a freshman, you love the fact that your superstar wants to be unselfish and distribute the basketball. But there are times like this where your team needs separation, that if you can take your man, he's got to have that killer instinct to go ahead and put up as many points as he can. And then once he's able to draw more opponents defensively, then he can find his other teammates.
But Alabama's got to start to get some shots up. They've turned it over 6 times in their last 10 possessions. Offensive opportunity here on the rebound. Evans keeps it alive. Ken Evans Jr. Rebound to Miller. Finds the open man in Gurley. To Bediako, who can't convert as he gets hacked on the way to the basket. He'll have some free throws.
Interesting that they double-teamed Brandon Miller when he came off of that ball screen. I think he'll see more of that in SEC play. Now, we need to remind our viewers that not only is Dom Welch still out, but you've also got Namari Burnett that's out. But in addition, Noah Clowney is out in this basketball game tonight. So with every piece that goes, obviously it makes it more challenging for this Alabama team. But the fact of the matter is there are no excuses, and this is a game that Coach Mo Williams and Jackson State has come in to try to take.
Bediako at the free throw line. Charles just 43% at the stripe. 0 for 2 tonight. Does have 4 rebounds, just 1 basket.
You know, I've been in games like this before, Dave, and when you're Alabama with 17 minutes left, you still don't think there's a chance that Jackson State can beat you. Now, the challenge is if it gets to 8 minutes and then maybe 5 minutes, then you start to feel more game pressure on every pass, on every cut. Defensively, your opponent starts to make shots. That's what you have to be concerned about if you're Coach Nate Oates, and that's what you love if you're Jackson State and Coach Mo Williams.
Alabama's had a couple of small runs in this game, a 7-0 run and a couple of 6-0 runs in that first half, but we haven't seen that trademark 10-12-0 run yet, and they might be getting ready to crank one up right here as Noah Gurley gets to the basket and will head to the free throw line as well.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that Coach Nate Oates talked about when you said, you know, you asked him, were there any guys that you were looking to step up and get more from? And he mentioned some other names too, but you think about Noah Gurley, the transfer from Furman out of Fayetteville, Georgia. He's a graduate senior now. I mean, he's experienced. He's been here before. He's played a year under Coach Nate Oates, and he's a guy who I think helps them in their length and their ability to knock down shots, and he's going to have to be a key contributor.
5-point advantage now for the Tide. Their largest lead in this game was 10 at 31-21. DeMarcus Jones, nowhere to go with it. His pocket picked by Sears, back the other way. Sears bumped out on the perimeter, no whistle, play on, gets bumped again in the paint. And there is finally a whistle, and they're going to call a foul against Bediako on that rebound. I believe it was Bediako.
Charles Bediako, we talked about how much he continued to help his team on the defensive end. Not sure where the foul was on that. There was contact, but it wasn't a shove. I didn't see a shove. It looked like he just went up and got the basketball. But Charles Bediako will have to take a seat for now.
Yeah, that's 3 fouls on Charles. Pull-up jumper by Evans is good.
He's the type of guy who loves this moment. He loves the opportunity to go to an SEC opponent's home on the road and put up big numbers.
Boy, nice take there by Noah Gurley.
Not surprised.
His second year.
See Bama on an 8-2 run over the last 3+ minutes. Maybe that run you talked about, like you said, Dave, is beginning right now.
Well, there's a lot of contact, collisions. Mo Williams. He and Antoine Petway creating some mayhem. We'll have that story when we come back.
Where can you save time shopping and spend quality time at the same time? Lowe's, actually. The final days of Winterfest are here. Save now before they're gone.
Getting the in-laws together for Christmas can be a teensy bit awkward. Just ask Romeo and Juliet. But after saving big on gifts from Amazon, tragedy was avoided.
It makes me want to dribble. You know, riding in my feet. You really have to see it.
Yeah, sisters.
Brought to you by our friends at Allstate. And, well, let's go back and hit the Wayback Machine. Number 5, Alabama. Number 8, Florida. Back on February 23rd, 2002. Tied down 1. Final 15 seconds. Mo Williams pushes the ball up court to Ernest Shelton. Shelton finds current Tide assistant Antoine Petway for the buzzer beater, and the Tide win by 1. They moved to 16-0 at Coleman Coliseum that season en route to an SEC regular season championship. And there are the two friends, two teammates on opposite sides tonight of Coleman Coliseum. But what a run by that Alabama team. An exciting group under the direction of Mark Godfrey, but Mo Williams right in the middle of it.
How about both guys still in impeccable shape too, Dave Neal, huh? You know, a lot of guys, they play a little bit and then, you know, they get to getting the pancakes instead of the egg white omelet. You know, they change it up a little bit. But those two guys still in incredible shape. No, I think both quality coaches and both of them quality individuals. And I know Alabama has to be proud of both of them.
What year was your Auburn SEC championship?
A couple years before. We were in 99.
Okay. Well, Quinterly will head to the free throw line as he gets that one to go down. Looking a little bit like Ernest Shelton and Antoine Petway and Mo Williams combined.
Yeah. You know, Javon Quinterly coming back from that ACL injury and, you know, record-breaking time has such a he's so soft-spoken, but his game and his action speaks his grit and toughness, and you can tell that just by how quickly he's getting back. Now obviously the coaching staff wants to make sure he doesn't play too many minutes too early, but they're hoping that he'll get back going as they begin to get into league play.
An 11-2 run by the Tide, hoping to stretch it out on this possession. We approach 15 minutes to play. Here's Sears.
Nice.
And they do stretch it out.
The Ohio University transfer is a point guard that I like. I think he can play the 1 or the 2. He plays with a high basketball IQ, nice motor. He's strong, you know, for his size at 6'1" and 185 pounds. And he's probably impressed me as much as anybody on this Alabama team.
And a late whistle comes in, a foul, as Zeke Cook went to the basket. That's good. Go back to that Mark Sears bucket for a moment.
Well, I think he and Javon Quinterly are going to have opportunities to play together, give them a different look. But you see how he changes speed, changes direction. He's always under control. You really can't speed him up. That's something that you want to have in your backcourt. And with him and Javon Quinterly, I think those turnovers begin to go down. I like the depth at that position. Him, Quinterly, you got Jaden Bradley. Nice solid backcourt for the Crimson Tide this year.
Free throw goes down. Now Sears coming off his worst shooting night of the season against Gonzaga. Went 1 for 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from behind the arc. And talking to Coach Oates today about Sears, he's like, man, I'm not worried about that at all. I mean, Steph Curry has 1 for 8 nights, is what he's telling us. So he hopes that Sears doesn't let that sink in and just keeps playing the ball that he knows he can play.
That's right. Now, as Alabama begins to stretch this lead, let's watch what we saw right there, which is the paint touch by Javon Quinterly. Beautiful paint touch, which led to the Gurley three-point shot. Mo Williams said it's not about the threes. You hear about the threes. It's the paint touches how Alabama makes you pay the price.
Well, we were waiting on that run, Fish, and it is coming now. It's 17-4 run by the Crimson Tide to open this up to a 12-point advantage.
Well, and this is how it's happened, right? Boom, you get it into the paint, the drive, the draw, and the dish, and Noah Gurley knows exactly what to do with it. And this is an opportunity where Alabama is able to continue to improve.
Well, Gurley picks up a couple of fouls. He just got whistled for that one. In this run, 17-4, Gurley has 8 of those points. And Nate Oates, thought Gurley might have gotten that technical for a moment, but it goes against Nate Oates.
You know, whenever you watch coaches, I always like to determine whether it was a technical foul that they meant to get or whether they, lost their cool a little bit. The majority of the times, I believe, coaches mean to get technical fouls. In my evaluation, as cool as Nate Oates is on the sideline right now, that was one that he didn't mind getting at this point of the game. Not a lot there.
Wasn't too demonstrative. Yeah, not too demonstrative, but obviously said one of the key words in that to get him a technical. Jackson State takes advantage with a couple of free throws, cut it to 10 with the basketball. Well,
nice.
Good break for Jackson State as the shot clock was winding down. They were able to find Zeke Cook underneath the basket.
Yeah, you have to love the Starkville, Mississippi native in his battle.
Pringle gets it to Miller. He can't hang on to it. Tigers on the run. Too fast, out of control. It belonged to the Tide.
Yeah, nice job of Brandon Miller not giving up on the play after he lost the basketball, was able to tip it from behind, which actually caused Chase Adams to lose control and have to speed up. And now we see the first pressure from Mo Williams.
Boy, there's a reach-in foul on Chase Adams. That'll be his second. That'll be the 4th team this half against Jackson State. Well, you mentioned Miller, 5 points here. This is, he had allowed 36 points against Gonzaga. Averages 20 points a game. Highest scoring player in the Southeastern Conference here through the first couple of months of the season. And there's a good look at Javon Quinterly slicing to the basket.
Well, and, I think it was the most points by a freshman this season at 36. The key is that with Alabama is they have multiple guys who can score. You see Javon Quinterly. We talked about Brandon Miller. Mark Sears can score. Bradley. They've got different weapons who can put it on the floor and get to the rim.
Mansell tied up, kicks it out. The 3 is good. Cornelius knocking that one home. Corner 3 on the other end by Sears off the back of the rim. Rebound to Zeke Cook. Tigers pushing the tempo. That is a long 3. A little too long. Here's Miller. Right to the basket goes Mark Sears.
Looked like he wanted to jam that. Couldn't quite get up there, but made the right decision. Made a business decision to lay that in.
Sears was scoreless in the first half, now has 8 in the second half, and we have played just 8 minutes. Rebound to Pringle. Off to Quinterly. Oh, that's a nice break. Finished off by Gurley.
You can tell the difference. We talked about the calming factor of Javon Quinterly. He's been here before. And when you have a young group, as you see the charge, it looks like by Charles Bediako, and that is the correct call. This group is now beginning to pick up speed. Jackson State, Dave, haven't quit. But right now, Mark Sears and the Crimson Tide are certainly starting to throw some ferocious blows. Gurley getting in on some of the action, too.
Where can you save time shopping and spend quality time at the same time? Lowe's, actually. The final days of Winterfest are here. Save now before they're gone.
Robin Hood's crew weren't looking particularly merry this holiday.
Oh, me tights!
The ties are stuck!
My tights! No, Sarah! It's in my mouth!
Luckily, she scored big with holiday deals at Amazon. And now their pants are a lot more functional.
What are those?
Pockets, you ninnies.
Yeah, that's right. Pockets.
The College Football Playoff Semifinals, Saturday, December 31st on ESPN.
Well, the college football playoff semifinals just a week and a half away. But how about Jackson State on Saturday taking part in the Cricket Celebration Bowl? Deion Sanders' last game as Jackson State's head coach. Tigers tied it up on the final play of regulation. Shedeur Sanders to Travis Hunter that sent it to the first ever overtime in the Celebration Bowl history. But Deion's Tigers would fall just short as North Carolina Central beat Jackson State 41-34, and Deion off to Colorado. And some news that concerns Alabama fans. Charles Kelly, the assistant defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator, just hired by Deion Sanders to be the defensive coordinator at Colorado earlier today. So Deion making some noise, got a great staff lined up, bringing in some transfers, and certainly Jackson State will miss him. But man, you cannot just imagine in 3 years what. It's hard to put a price on what Deion did for the Tiger football program and the university.
Yeah, well, and has been getting transfers and recruits even before his staff was complete, right? When you think of Deion Sanders, you think of a guy who was fearless. And I think, Mo Williams brings that same courage and confidence to the table. Now, Deion Sanders obviously a two professional sport athlete, one of the best to ever do it. But I asked Mo, I said, what'd you learn from Deion? He said, I actually learned the impact of social media. A lot of times the big media doesn't really go out and give them the platform, he said, that a lot of the other power schools has, but he watched how Deion was able to do it on the social media platform, and it's already helping him as well at Jackson State.
Alabama getting 2 or 3 cracks at it right here. Here's Bradley. He'll kick it back out. Miles. He turns it over, and for Alabama, that is turnover number 17. Catch and shoot, long rebound. Out to the Tigers. Try it again. Here's Trace Young, and he knocks it home.
Wow. Outstanding movement of the basketball. And now a 2-possession game here for Jackson State.
That 3 is no good. Rebound to Young. Last touch by the Tigers. It'll belong to the Crimson Tide. Well, here's Thursday night's college hoops doubleheader. South Carolina hosting Western Kentucky at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And Missouri in this high-octane offense hosts number 16 Illinois. And another good test for the Tigers. Both games right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Conference play begins on the 27th and 28th of December. There's Bediako laying it up and in.
Yeah, just much more complete with him in the basketball game.
The easy 2 on the other end as that one is pushed through the cylinder by Jamarcus Jones. Man, they call pops on this team.
What was that word you said before? 2, Dave Neal? Was it easy? That's what Coach Nate Oates is going to say in the film room. Alabama just not taking pride in defending right now. Nice pass.
Oh, Bediako can't finish it off. Rebound to Bediako. Here's Miller, scoreless in the second half, just 5 for the game. Another alley-oop, and Bediako was cut. That'll get him to the free throw line. That foul will go against Trace Young. That'll be number 3 on him, and that'll be the 7th team foul against the Tigers. So free throws the rest of the way out with 8:50 to go for the Crimson Tide.
Well, that's key. And, you know, for our viewers, if you don't know about some of the upsets this year, and particularly from the SWAC, I mean, you think about Texas Southern able to knock off Arizona State, Prairie View A&M knocked off Washington State, Grambling knocking off Colorado. You know, they have continued to improve on the season. And right now, Coach Mo Williams, you know, he's coming in back to his alma mater, and I think he's doing a nice job and has his team playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, Grambling also knocked off Vanderbilt this year. So the SWAC, yeah, so the SWAC has some big wins this season. Bediako at the free throw line, 1 for 3. And misses that one. There have been 3 trips to the free throw line tonight where Alabama's gone 0 for 2. Just giving away points. Bama shooting 44%. 6 of 22 from behind the arc, though. That's a 27% clip. Alabama averages a little over 10 three-pointers made per game. That's 14th in Division I. Chase Adams dribbling through some traffic. Tried to get it inside as he saw Jamarcus Jones available for a fraction of a second. There's 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, I thought that was a good set that Jackson State ran for the pocket ball screen, and Jones was open, but Adams just missed him.
Here's Evans Jr. Shot clock down to 2 off the back of the rim. Bediako with that rebound. That's number 8 for him. Here's Sears. Cross court pass to Miller. Goes baseline. Throws it up, no good. Bediako with another rebound. Deep 3 by Sears. That won't go. Boy, that was a tough fall by Ryland Griffin trying to go for that rebound, but he pops up in a hurry. Alabama up by 9. Our under 8 timeout. Everybody seems to be okay, which is good news. Back in a moment. Back at Coleman Coliseum, where the Alabama Crimson Tide lead it by 9, under 8 minutes to play. Everybody in that festive attire and attitude here inside this historic building. There are plans. Don't know when it's going to get started. The plans for a new basketball arena here at Alabama. We'll see how that all plays out. But some of the numbers from tonight's game, and three-point shooting hasn't been great tonight. But those turnovers still an issue for Alabama tonight. 17 of those have resulted in 17 Jackson State points.
Yeah, they've got to clean it up. And this is just an example of what we've seen all across college basketball. With a lot of teams this year, there's been what we would call quote-unquote upsets. And the SEC, a lot of teams went down tonight. I don't think in college basketball there's any team who has just a plethora of talent that's so good where they can walk out on the court and just beat anybody. It's so balanced. I was talking to coaches, and they said they think it's 15 to 20 teams that can win a national championship this year because of transfers, because of the mixing of coaches, and Alabama's experiencing this right now here in their own backyard.
The Crimson Tide just haven't really been in sync. We've seen a couple of runs. They went on a 17-4 spurt at one stretch, their biggest run of the game here in the second half. Largest lead for Alabama's been a dozen. Gurley just picked up his second foul. Jamarcus Jones now 2 out of 3 at the line with 4 points. Jamarcus, he's a guy that came on when Mo Williams got this job, came to campus. He was a walk-on, but he saw this guy's leadership, saw how this team gravitated to him, and he's like, man, I got to put this man on scholarship. And so right before the season started, awarded him that opportunity to be one of those scholarship players. So good on both those guys, Jamarcus Jones and Mo Williams.
Well, he's doing what we're seeing in the SEC this year with a lot of new coaches. He's building culture. He's setting standards, setting a precedent. And right now, he has told me that his goal is to win the league, to win the SWAC this year. Texas Southern's been to the tournament multiple years with Johnny Jones, but they're showing that type of pedigree tonight.
Layup is good for Griffin. Texas Southern. Well, the SWAC in general is going to be a tough league this year. The top half of that league, it's going to be very competitive, to say the least.
Yep. Alcorn State won it last year. You know, you look at the difference, and most of the time it's the bigs, and Charles Bediako's made his presence known tonight.
Another foul against Jackson State. That one goes to Young.
Good hustle that time by Jaden Bradley. And you can see Mo Williams. It's tough. He wants this one bad, doesn't he, Dave? He wants it bad.
They're going to give that foul to Chase Adams, and that'll be the third on Chase. Well, the Tide back up by a dozen.
See Jackson State, multiple players now in foul trouble.
Well, that touched every bit of the cylinder, but finally goes down for Trace Young.
Well, he's 6'8", he's long, has a nice touch. I think he settles from the perimeter quite often. I think he could use that length and size to attack the basket more.
Young, an Alabama State transfer that came with Mo Williams. Boy, nice take there, but nothing to show for it for Griffin. Under 6 minutes to play. Ken Evans Jr. Step back three. Got it. Rips the net. 17 tonight. His third three.
You know, Dave, you can always tell a guy. It doesn't take much time to watch film to know when the guy wants it with the game on the line. And we just saw two of them. Mark Sears as well as Ken Evans Jr. And Alabama doing a nice job of not allowing Jackson State to get over that hump here down the stretch.
Sears with 11 points all in the second half. Here is Sears on the run out. Thought about the three, was tripped on the way to the basket, and that will go against Trace Young. And that'll be number 10 on Jackson State. So 2 free throws coming up for Sears, who's a 74% foul shooter.
Yeah, it's part of Coach Nate Oates' recipe. The paint touches, the threes, and the frees.
Here's tomorrow night's college hoops matchups. Mr. Double-Double, Oscar Tshiebwe will take center stage, and number 19 Kentucky will host FAMU at 7 Eastern, 6 Central from Rupp Arena. Then it's Ricky Council IV leading a balanced Razorback attack, when number 10 Arkansas hosts UNC Asheville at Bud Walton Arena. Both games are right here on this very network, and of course you can catch it on the ESPN app.
You know, you think about Oscar Tshiebwe and trying to get back-to-back National Player of the Year. If you watch the Alabama-Gonzaga game, you know Drew Timmy's going to keep his name in the mix, but he's going to have a long road to knock this guy out. 17 points and 15 rebounds. Just one of the more impressive motors, personalities, and overall games. Just getting it done from simple work ethic.
Well, as Colty Young heads to the free throw line. A quick question about Kentucky, and that is, what do we make of the Cats? Conference play coming up shortly. What do they need to do to kind of just take it to that next level?
Well, one thing about Coach Cal's teams that I love is that they always get better throughout the year, and I don't think this team's going to be any different. You know, people think about the upset of Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, but they forget, you know, dominant wins over North Carolina and Kansas last year. They just ran into a buzzsaw in the St. Pete team who, you know, happened to be making noise. But, you know, the list of SEC teams that we saw, there's not a team on that list that can allow themselves to be comfortable right now. As you go into league play, it is a completely different season. Everybody is 0-0. And all these teams need to finish the non-conference correctly and then go into league play with a hungry and humble mindset.
Mississippi State loses for the first time this year earlier tonight as the shot clock horn sounds, but that'll belong to Jackson State. But I don't know. I mean, nobody likes to lose a game, Fish, but carrying that burden of being like one of the last undefeated teams in the country as you hit conference play, it's got to kind of weigh on you a little bit. It brings an element into your season that maybe you didn't think would be there. So we'll see how Mississippi State handles. They were the last team to lose a game in the league this year.
Well, I can certainly relate. I remember going into Rupp Arena, and I think we were 16-0, and Kentucky had a sign that said 17-0, and it had scratched out, and it had 16-1. So it definitely weighs on you as Mark Sears is weighing on Jackson State here down the stretch in the second half.
Boy, Sears has just been phenomenal here in the second half, has put this team on his shoulders. All 15 of his points have come in this 16 minutes we played so far in the second half. Jackson State getting that basket to go down as they have cut it back to 11. Mansell with 4 points on 2 of 3 from the field. Griffin for 3. No good, and that's going to be a foul against Jackson State. Bediako got tied up.
Well, Mark Sears has been the man in the second half. Ohio University out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama, trying to show Jackson State what the Tide are all about.
Where can you save time shopping and spend quality time at the same time? Lowe's, actually. The final days of Winterfest are here. Save now before they're gone.
Food. We think about it all the time, but for many Americans, it's a scary thought. During this crisis, 1 in 12 seniors and 1 in 7 children don't have access to nutritious food. We can all help. Get involved at feedingamerica.org.
Well, Fish, Miller, their leading scorer, has been held to 8 tonight, but you said there's a lot of other options on this team, and here's one of them right here in Sears.
Yeah, the Hargrave Military Academy high school, he really brings so much to the table. We talked about his pace to play. He's more athletic than most people think that he is. You think about a couple of seasons at Ohio University where he made the All-MAC tournament team, first team All-MAC, MAC Player of the Week 5 times. This young man has a swagger and a demeanor to his game that he's going to be the toughest player on the floor. He's going to be the smartest player on the floor, and I think he's one of the more dependable players on the floor. And you see all of his points scored in the second half tonight, Dave.
I mean, it has been impressive. 15 points, 5 of 10 shooting, and 3 3-pointers tonight. We talk about Miller. From an offensive production, only 8 points for a guy that's averaging 20 a night. But listen, it's not like he's disappeared. He's had 13 rebounds tonight to lead Alabama. He has been a rebounding machine as a freshman. You really don't see a whole lot of that. I mean, he's averaging 20 points and 8.2 rebounds a game, and he has 13 tonight.
Yeah, I think he should really average a double-double. I think the game comes to him that easy. It's just whether he decides to do it or not. Now, he's got the ability to get to the free throw line. He's efficient from the free throw line. He's just got to clock in every single game. And so for him, when you come off a game of 36 points, You see 1 and 10, you think, I just want to get my guys involved and get a win. But at the top of the scouting report, he's going to have to continue to fight to get the type of numbers that he wants and that his team needs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he's played once we get to conference play next week. As you mentioned, he will be front and center on the whiteboards on team scouts this year, which means you got to have guys like Sears and Quinterly and Gurley and Bediako step up.
That's how you pass to me on the mic, Dave. Just like that right there, behind the back, man, where I can just lay it up and throw it in like Bediako.
I wish I was that good. I wish. It was fancy, and it works.
You know, we talk about change in pace. Look at him. Javon Quinterly splits the double team, jumps in the air, and goes behind the back to Charles Bediako. That's just pretty basketball by JQ Javon Quinterly.
Quinterly getting some extended minutes here tonight. Of course, no Noah Clowney tonight. He is out with an illness. Coach Oates talking about there's been an illness kind of running through this team here for the last week, and he's kind of anxious to get the guys away from each other for a few days. After this one, they'll take a break before they open up conference play. And hopefully come back and have a bunch of guys ready to go.
Yeah, a lot of guys and teams taking breaks all over the country. My advice to those teams would be to be safe and to stay out of trouble. Oftentimes, over these holiday breaks, you have negative news and you want to go see your families, but you want to make sure that you stay disciplined. Woo!
There's Miller. There's a smile. He's in double figures now. His second double-double with 10 points and 13 rebounds.
It's kind of like that smile displayed on how he got the double-double too. It was pretty easy. Just another day at the office.
Alabama now with 7 dunks tonight.
And you saw, I think it was Young there. Quite a few of the Jackson State players decided to make a business decision there.
Yes.
Don't blame you.
Well, Brandon Miller, the highest scoring freshman in Division I, 19th overall in scoring in the country. Not a bad non-conference slate for a true freshman. Quinterly. Gurley.
Yep. Just the talent continuing to be resilient is allowing Alabama to pull away right now. And you can tell Jackson State beginning to wear down a little bit with just a minute and a half left to go. Nice look.
Bediako. I see you. I see you, Brandon Miller.
Oh, man. Well, you can see why the Crimson Tide's ranked number 9 in the country. They have a lot of weapons. Brandon Miller's one of those weapons. Nice no-look pass to Charles Bediako. And he appreciates that special delivery from Brandon Miller.
Well, tomorrow is signing day for football, and Alyssa Lang, Roman Harper, and ESPN National Recruiting Coordinator Craig Halbert will have wall-to-wall coverage of all 14 SEC schools, highlights and evaluations, find out where the nation's top football recruits will land, many of them right in the Southeastern Conference. SEC Now, a 3-hour signing day special beginning at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, with live 5-minute updates at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app, so you can watch it, catch up with all the activity anywhere you may be. That's tomorrow. Brandon Miller is already signed. That's good news for the Alabama Crimson Tide to lock him up for this season. I don't know how long he'll be wearing that uniform.
A year, a season.
Right.
Well, you know, the days of NIL, who knows? But, you know, Brandon Miller made that pass, just a possession to go like a point guard. And I wanted to tell you, Dave, you talked about your point guard skills on the mic there. simply phenomenal. But that lady we just showed, Alyssa Lang, you know, you got those 3 and 4 and 5 stars. She's 5-star now. She's 5-star.
Her and Dari did a wonderful job handling all the Mike Leach news and information the day that broke last week. And of course in Starkville today, a big celebration of life for Coach Leach.
If you didn't know the SEC meant more, the broadcast and the celebration of Mike Leach's life by the network displayed that as well as anything on the SEC network.
Yep, he'll definitely be missed. That is for sure. High alley-oop. Brandon Miller chases it back down as we go under a minute. Quinterly off the front of the rim. And it'll belong to Alabama. Jackson State gave it a run. They were in this thing up until about the 5-6 minute mark. Felt like they had a chance, but they just ran out of gas. Mo Williams certainly has nothing to be ashamed of, coming back to his old stomping grounds with a team that really gave it their best effort tonight.
I would agree. And you think about Mo Williams, the NBA champion, the NBA All-Star, the SEC champion at Alabama, and in his first year at Jackson State. You talked about the league and the SWAC and that it was going to be more challenging this year with the impressive wins, but I would imagine that Jackson State and Coach Mo Williams have certainly prepared themselves to make a splash this season.
Yeah, they got to the under 16 down just 2, 36-34, and Alabama went on a 17-4 run to create some separation and kind of hang between that 8 and 12-point mark for most of the second half. They've now opened it up to 16. There's the alley-oop to Miller, and he will, or excuse me, that one goes to Nick Pringle, who lays it through the cylinder for another Crimson Tide dunk. It'll go back to Alabama. So the Crimson Tide will now take a few days off for the Christmas break. And then it's time to get into conference play. And they will open things up against Mississippi State in Starkville, which will be a top 25 matchup, I would assume, when we get there, despite the loss today by Mississippi State.
Absolutely. And Mississippi State will be ready. One of the best defensive teams and unbelievably athletic teams that I've seen in the SEC. But tonight, Mo Williams and Jackson State can keep